operation that was in October went very well. I voted there on the first day, the 15th of October, which was a Thursday, and it took me 40 minutes to get through. And so I thought that was great and well organized, and appreciate the library for, having this capability in our community to assist with this all important election we've just been through. So I guess, and I'm looking forward, like everyone, to the getting through this time of darkness with COVID-19. So that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate you being here this morning.
Happy to be here.
I'd like to move on and move to approve today's meeting agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Jeremy? Yeah. So moved. Okay, then I'd like to move on and move to approve the October 15, 2020 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any question? If you're on, if you're not speaking, could you please mute your microphone? We're getting a lot of back noise. Yeah, I know. Okay, so on the minutes, do we have? Okay, we have a second. Yeah, Katrina, I think already second.
I did.
Thank you. Ann, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay. Katrina?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And now we will move on to the director's report. Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Good morning, everyone. The first thing I would like to do is introduce our new emerging adult services specialist, Jessica Jones. I do believe she's in the boardroom already with you all this morning. Jessie, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm going to take my mask off. My face. My name is Jessica Jones. I recently moved here from Missouri. I worked in public libraries and academic libraries before, and with my position, I'll be working with young people ages 13 to 25, which is the group that I have the most experience with. So I'm really excited to work with these people and get them the support that they need in whatever area of their life they need support. So, yeah.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me.
Thank you, Jessie. For my intro director's update today. So I want to give you a little update about the virtual learning centers. These are some of the comments that some of the parents had. They have been saying thank you for everything that we're doing. They are saying that their children enjoy coming to the library every day. And some have said that it has been very helpful to get their children back into a daily routine. So, and they have thanked us for our efforts. So those are some of the feel goods that have been going on with the virtual learning centers. I also wanted to share with you a couple of the setups for the different libraries. On the left is Cliffdale. So that is one station where one child works, and that is their station every day that they come. We don't change stations. I also wanted to share with you East Regional's library sensory walk. So when the children get the fidgets, they can hop on all of the little squares, and it is in an S shape. So, and it has different activities for them to do at each stop. So the staff worked really, really hard to make this a pleasant experience for the youth that have been coming into the station, to the libraries. We have still been doing programming, except we have taken it virtual. And the first thing that I wanted to show you is that we've been doing in local and state, have had a 3-part video series on women Marines. So that has been well received. And it went up on one day, and we noticed that by the very next day, we had over 500 brand new likes for the library. So that was well received. We attributed those 500 plus likes to the 3-part Heroes Homecoming series that the library did. We are steadily embracing the virtual programming. And so now all of our book clubs are now online through an app called Book Clubs. And so the book for this month, try saying that 5 times, is Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. This is our mystery book club book for the month. And what's good about it is at this app, they can get the discussion questions, they can post their comments and more right there at that particular app. We're also steadily doing programming for our littles as well. So we had a school age program recognizing Veterans Day. And then we also had a sensory story time for preschoolers as well. So that was Bordeaux on the right and Cliffdale and West Regional on the left. We are steadily doing our outreach as well. We've had cryptids delivered to Better Health, Cumberland County Child Services, Cumberland County Public Health. And then we've also, Tracy has gone to Operation Ceasefire Movie Night, and they do it drive-in style now, and over 100 people attended. So that was over 100 contacts that Tracy was able to make as well. And one of the last slides that I have is our staff have been working so very hard to make the virtual learning centers a success. They have been working so very hard to embrace the changes that COVID has caused the library to undergo in terms of learning how to do virtual programming, learning to do curbside, and learning that, yes, we really do have to wear masks and stay 6 feet apart and do the social distancing. So as our way of saying thank you for all of those things, we gave them a staff appreciation breakfast on October 29th, recognizing that while we couldn't all come together, the branch managers could swing by, pick up their biscuits from Biscuitville and take them back to their locations. And so that was what we did for the staff on last month. And they were very appreciative, as you can see from the smiles there. And that is my presentation for this morning. Are there any questions?
No questions. Thank you very much, Ms. Jones. We appreciate it. And now we don't have any old business on the agenda, so we'll move on to new business, and I will turn that over to Brian.
Thank you. So the only kind of matter that we have to clean up yet for next year, as far as members, is the officers. And I spoke with both Irene and Belinda, and both of them have agreed to stay in their same positions for at least another year. And I think that's just commendable, both of them, and I do appreciate that. That has been run through the members of the committee, the nominating committee, and they all are in concurrence at least. So I will then formally move this morning to reappoint Linda as chair of Trustees, and Irene then as vice chair for 2021, year of 2021. Okay. May I have a second, please? I'll second. Thank you, Dennis. Any discussion? I didn't think there would be any.
No, thank you. You get an enthusiastic aye from me.
Well, thank you. We're right on to the vote. That's one.
Okay, Ann? Aye. Dennis?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
I'll vote aye too.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Now we'll move on to the library endowment report. Ms. Jones again.
I do not have a slide for this. I'm just going to talk with you a little bit. Okay, I'm going to read to you a little bit the numbers that I have. For 2020, the Vito C. Amoroso Endowment Fund, the balance as of June 30 is $35,590. However, only a portion of this is designated to the library. And the fiscal year 2021 disbursement will be $192.50. The Flavia S. Thompson Endowment for the library, the closing fund balance as of June the 30th is $12,748.59. And the 2021 endowment is $420. The library endowment fund, Cumberland County, closing fund balance as of June 30th is $147,055.27. And the fiscal year 21 disbursement will be $2,760. The library endowment trust, closing fund balance as of June 30th is $716,231.73. And the fiscal year 21 disbursement will be $28,430. The Francis Brooks and Harry B. Stein Memorial Library Fund, as of June 30th, has $16,729.11. And the fiscal year 21 disbursement will be $660. The Magerstadt Olive Cherry Endowment Fund, as of June 30th, has $19,942.77, with a fiscal year 21 disbursement of $780. The Charles Claudette and Claire Fitzgerald Endowment for the Library Fund, as of June 30th, $56,760.42. And the fiscal year 21 disbursement is $2,250. And the last but not least is the Pay It Forward Endowment for the library. Closing fund balance as of June 30th is $17,512.12, with a fiscal year 21 disbursement of $610. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes. Okay, so we're going to move on to the collection report from Pamela Curse.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm Pamela Curse. I am the Collection Development and Technology Innovation Division Manager. And I want to tell you a little bit about what our team does. This is our technical services team, and they submit the orders that the selectors of the materials the selectors choose. They track receipts, they process invoices for payment, process and their catalog materials when they're received. They create replacement cases for AV materials, primarily for headquarters. They do minor repair of other materials. Reprocessing and repairs extend the life of the materials, and it increases the shelf appeal. Pretty nicely conditioned DVD or audiobook tends to go out a lot more than one that looks like it's been through the ring. While the staff were off for 6 weeks, previously pre-publication orders continue to be processed by our vendor, and they piled those boxes up in their storage area. And then the first week I called them and said, start Monday. Well, the next day we got 40 boxes. So we resumed, when staff came back, we resumed the shipment and compressed 4 months worth of orders into 2 months. This team jumped in with both feet, we borrowed, thank goodness that there wasn't a lot of returns because we had to borrow carts from headquarters. At one point, we had over 40 carts of materials in the room and lined up in the halls, plus 100 boxes lined up in the halls, waiting to be processed. Many thanks. Headquarters circulation team would send staff down to go through, unpack the boxes, check them against the invoices and the packing sheets so that we could get the invoices into the payment pipeline. The photo on the left is one day's shipment, and that wasn't the biggest one. The biggest one that I'm aware of was over 72 boxes. Yeah, that was a real treat. We finally caught up by the end of July. Without working overtime. They did a phenomenal job. Okay, last year was the last year that there was a collection topic in 5-year plan, and the topic was alternative health, fitness, and nutrition. And this is a sampling of some of the new materials we had. The materials we did get, some of them were immediately, they were out. It's very popular. And we met the goal of improving the age of the collection by at least 3 years. We did it by 4 years in the adult and 3 years for juvenile. The collections were well weeded, getting rid of the stuff that was dated, ugly, no longer the health topic du jour. And the new titles, as I said, were well received. And this topic turned out to be extremely timely. As part of the discussions with the new long range, we're going to be shifting to electronic collections. So we moved some funds over from print in order to get streaming, some streaming stuff that didn't happen. But we're able to put that to our ebook purchases, which had been desperately needed. That circulation, as you can imagine, is up significantly. Okay. Changes and additions this year. October 21st, the company that owns RB Digital bought the company that owns Overdrive, which is Libby. And since the Libby app and platform are so much more user-friendly, according to the people who are using it, the library customers and the staff, the decision was made that RB Digital would phase out that. So we transferred our entire, the collection was transferred over on the 21st of October. Went relatively smoothly. We still have a subscription through the end of the fiscal year for some of the audio that is unlimited, but that will go away and will no longer be available. But this has allowed us to target our spending better. In the past, I had to decide, okay, which one gets additional copies of this bestseller in audio because of holds. Well, now it's just one list of holds, so it's allowing me to target that spending better. And then as well as customers really have only one place that they need to go to find our ebooks and our e-audios. Another product that we've added is the Binge Box. We've tried that. These are collections of movies that go out in one go. These are two of the examples. Don't think a flu shot will cut it. That has Outbreak, Contagion, Quarantine, 12 Monkeys, The Crazies, and I Am Legend. And then Black History has Birth of a Nation, 12 Years a Slave, Race, Red Tails, 42, and Selma. My favorite title is Never Travel with Tom Hanks. It has Castaway, Apollo 13, Sully, and Captain Phillips. And that just appeals to my warped sense of humor. Okay, update on Freehold. In late March, as the nation basically went on a shutdown, Library Ideas contacted the companies that they work with to provide this service, and they got a dispensation to change us from only 3 hours of streaming a day to unlimited 24 hours of streaming a day. Still only get 3 downloads a week, but you can stream unlimited. First, it was through September 30th, and then they renegotiated, so through the end of the year, you can listen to all the millions of songs in the playlist that they have, 24 hours a day if you like. Average usage per month was over 2,900 songs streamed and over 230 songs downloaded each month. This past month, I should have listened an extra half hour because we were that many songs away from hitting 3,000 songs. Okay. We've also, managing the collection, we've taken advantage of the shift in what we're able to do because of not being open to the public. And after everybody came back and took stock of the new reality, we spent a great deal of time working with the collection. Inventory, this device is called a wand. It reads the RFID tags and it can go through and if something is missing or checked out, not checked in properly. If it's not actually in the catalog, it was deleted, you couldn't find it. Staff can identify this and clean up the stack so that if people are searching and the computer says we have this, we have it and it's in the proper place. The staff have done a phenomenal job. In fact, they have been so successful that we had to put a temporary moratorium because we ran out of room in the Friends room. But the numbers are looking good and the shelves are fuller than normal because we don't have people browsing. But in most cases, they contain materials that are current and in very good shape. That's it for the tech services and the collection in general. I wanted to have a couple slides on Collection HQ. For those who are new, this is a product, it's called Evidence-Based Collection Management, and they use our circulation statistics with multiple algorithms that they won't necessarily share to give us reports to help us manage the collection. For example, items that haven't circulated in a set period of time, items that might need attention because they've gone out 150 times. What's missing, what nonfiction areas have too many materials or not enough materials, or the materials that are there have very, very high cert and might need to be refreshed a bit. We can use this to target books that aren't necessarily circulating at one location, and replace a heavily used copy at another. And that's what this slide does. They also provide these, we call it the desktop, these little reports. And this is circulations from all of the transfers, which have primarily been with fiction materials. Over the 5 or 6 years that we've been doing transfers, we've transferred almost 2,000 items. This is the information on 755 that have circulated in the past year. The average time that one of those transfers has been on the shelf without going out was over 12 months. In the time that, since we have transferred, we have had over 17,000 plus circulations without having to spend $1 to buy a new book for the copies that will fall apart. So this makes us get the best bang from our buck. The book isn't being used at one location, it goes to the location that it's falling apart, and the cert goes up. And you can see, even with this being closed, we are getting little tiny bits of circulation. But in the past year, we've gotten, even though we've been closed for 9 of those months, we have gotten 755 circulations out of those materials. Okay, the other things that we can do is get reports. So I can get like the top, and this should have been the top 5. I ran the top 10 and gave you the top 5. So on the adult for the October circulation, it was a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Harriet, Jumanji, The Next Level, Resistance, and the Thomas Crown Affair, that's the classic Steve McQueen version. Resistance, that is a biopic about Marcel Marceau and his experiences in the French Resistance during World War II. Yeah. The children's, Everything Old is New Again, Scoop, the remake of the old TV series, Monsters Inc., Paw Patrol, the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the old Gene Wilder version. Just to reinforce that everything old is new again, I updated this on Monday when the new report came out, but the September one had the first season of the Flintstones, the television that debuted in 1960. That was one of the highest to the top circulating children's DVDs. So who knew? Comfort viewing. Does anybody have any questions for me?
No, thank you very much, Pamela. It was very interesting, especially learning about Collection HQ. So thank you for that. Okay, so now we are moving on. Yep.
Other business.
Yes, moving on to other business.
So I guess what I have not heard today at all yet from anybody, and I guess I'm losing my patience. As the longest standing trustee here, I just feel I must say something about the elephant in the room here. Why is there no talk about reopening yet? Why is there no standard placed? It just seems to me, I mean, while the staff is doing a great job adjusting to all these conditions, there's not been a word about reopening the library. And did Katina, did she leave?
If I may, this is Sally Shutt. Madam Chairman, may I speak?
Yes.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Katina stepped out of the room because Dr. Wilkerson is going to lead us into our next item, which is the discussion of the search for the next library director. That is why she stepped out. Regarding reopening, the library has developed a reopening plan and has shared that with county management. At this time, we are not ready to proceed to that plan, but the plan has been developed, but we're not ready to move to it. If you recall, this week it was announced that Cumberland County is an orange county. The governor and North Carolina DHHS released an alert system for all counties in the state, and we are at substantial community spread. What additional questions do you have?
Okay, so I'm sorry, the next item on the agenda is?
Under other business, we're going to talk about the executive search for the library director.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I just sort of quite aside from reopening, I would be interested in us getting some numbers about the usage of the opening program for county employees' children. I'd be interested in seeing how that's being used. And I'd also be interested in feedback from staff about it. I understand every parent who contributes is going to have a positive response, but the staff may have a different feel, and I'd be interested in getting that information.
We can share with you those numbers regarding attendance and participation. And as for staff, I'd like to discuss that as we move into the director search. They'll be providing feedback through a survey there. And it would go through their chain of command as well.
Thank you very much. So we will move on to this next section where we will have a presentation about the search that will be taking place for Director of Cumberland County Public Libraries. Sally, would you continue on with that piece, please?
Thank you so much. We did want to come to the Board of Trustees today, and I am joined by our consultant who has been hired. The county did an request for proposals for an executive search firm for our library director search. We want to cast a wide net. We want to really do a thorough recruitment process. And so we received 15 applications for requests for proposals, and then we have selected developmental associates, which is based out of Chapel Hill. And so today we are joined by Dr. Stephen Strauss, who is the lead consultant for developmental associates, and he's also joined by Susan Brown, who will be helping with our search. Susan is the library director for the town of Chapel Hill. I'll turn it over to Dr. Strauss, and then we'll go over a timeline and the process.
Thank you so much, Sally. Let me just ask a quick technical question. I'd like to briefly share our process on screen. Can I be given permission to share on screen?
Yes, John's taking care of that.
Okay, thanks. So as Sally said, we're from Chapel Hill and Durham area, our team. And we're very excited to be working with you all in this process. We've worked with Cumberland County on a number of processes in the past, including a couple of more visible hires were Jennifer Green, the health director, and Dwayne Holder, the deputy manager. So we're very excited to have another opportunity to work with the county on this very critical process. Just briefly about me, I'm a native North Carolinian. I've taught on the graduate level at UNC Chapel Hill in their School of Government, also at NC State in their Masters of Public Administration program. Also have been had this consulting business as well, to the point where it got so busy that I had to leave teaching and move fully into the consulting business. Been doing that for about 25, 30 years now. One of our most successful hires was Susan Brown as the library director for the town of Chapel Hill, where she has been gangbusters ever since, and came in just as the new library was being finished. And one of the things that I've always been particularly impressed about Susan is this is really the community library. So Susan, you want to say a few words about yourself?
Sure. Hey, I'm so thrilled to be with y'all today, and thank you for that introduction, Steve. I'll just say I've been in the library field for 25 years and in the public library field for about 20 years. I've worked for Wake County Public Libraries, for Orange County. I did a brief stint in Lawrence, Kansas, of all places, working for that system. And I'll just share that I'm active in the NCPLDA, which is the North Carolina Public Library Directors Group. And I know very well the reputation of Cumberland County Public Libraries and the shoes that whomever we hire is going to fill. So I'm honored and thrilled to be working with y'all to find your next great library leader.
Okay, thank you, Susan. I'm going to give you a very quick, less 5 to 10 minute overview of our process. It's different from what you might typically conceive from a search firm to be doing. So let me pull this up real quickly. This is my first time using this platform, so hopefully I won't mess things up too badly here. Well, let's see. Do you all see a document that says scope of work, Cumberland County Public Library Director? Is that what you see in front of you? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, I may have to just give up. It's not allowing me to do it. So let me just talk you all through it. No problem. We will begin by getting input, and we will be getting input from a variety of sources, including from library staff, from the public, from the county manager's team. We'll be using multiple methods and from the community. We'll be doing that using multiple methods, face-to-face or virtually face-to-face, through surveys and getting input about the key challenges facing the next Cumberland County Library Director, using all that information as the basis really for everything that we do, from recruitment to screening to selection, because what we want to do is make sure that we're fitting exactly what Cumberland County needs in a library director. After we've done that, by early December, we will have developed an attractive job ad, include some pictures of the community, perhaps even a link to a video about Cumberland County and the library. And we will begin our recruitment process. We use 4 different methods for recruitment. We'll use social media. We'll connect with some listservs, particularly in the region. We will obviously post on key regional and national websites. And Susan will be taking responsibility for targeted recruitment, reaching out to individuals that she thinks would be good candidates for the position as well. We'll recruit for about 30 days, and then we will have an initial screening session with Amy Cannon and the committee. And we basically, our job is always to try to provide the best information. Our clients make the decisions, we don't. So we're not going to be pushing candidates on the county. We're going to be essentially looking at every single one of them, analyzing their how well they fit with what the county's looking for. And Amy and her team will make those decisions about whom they want to move forward. That initial screen, we asked the county to come up with no more than 15 candidates to go through a secondary screen. Those folks will then go through a very intensive screening process. Frankly, I argue that that screening process is more intensive than what most organizations do when they hire. We have all the candidates will go through a structured interview with Susan. We haven't figured out whether that'll be by phone or by Zoom, probably by Zoom. And she will ask all the candidates the same questions, but also ask questions specific to each candidate. For example, you know, there are always questions that come up during an initial screen, such as, you know, why did you leave this position? Why did you only stay for 1.5 years in this position? And those kinds of things. But it's also structured in the sense of a rating system, so that we're giving every candidate, we're basing all of our ratings not just on subjective criteria, but on predetermined criteria that are very behavioral based. Susan will interview, again, those 15 candidates. We will also have all the candidates complete an instrument, psychological, called the Emotional Intelligence Inventory, that looks at key factors such as how they engage with other people, how they deal with conflict, how accessible they are, how motivated they are career-wise. We'll administer that as well. And we also administer an electronic survey to find out how the candidates have approached key challenges during their careers. We have a different person on our staff, Susan being one of them, administer each of those methods. And they will report back to our coordinator and Heather Lee, my partner, and she will then hold a second screening session with Amy and the committee, and ask that committee to reduce the number of candidates down to no more than 5. Those folks then get invited to go through a process called an assessment center. Now, what most of us think of as a hiring process is you bring the candidate in and you ask them questions. We've done that. We've had an interview. We are also confident that the county is going to want to interview the top 2 or 3 folks that come out of the process. Our approach, though, is interview, the typical hiring approach where you interview. There's a big problem with that, and that is that the interview is a limited tool. It's an important tool, but it's a limited tool in terms of your ability to directly observe key competencies from a candidate. Essentially, what you get out of an interview are 3 competencies. Oral communication, obviously, you can observe the candidate's command of the English language. Second, you can find out what they know, so you can ask them questions about, you know, what they know about, for example, programming, community engagement, and so forth. And third, you can assess their judgment if you ask them situational questions, such as, you know, you have someone who reports to you on your staff whose performance isn't what it needs to be. How would you go about dealing with that person? But that's all you get from an interview. So essentially what you're getting is what the candidate knows and what they say they would do. What you don't get is their actual competencies in very critical areas that are essential for being an effective director. Can they effectively deal with that staff member? Well, in the interview, they said they could, but we haven't actually seen their competencies in dealing with staff. So do they really have conflict resolution skills, problem solving skills, listening skills? Are they really a collaborative leader like they said they were in the interview? We can see that in an exercise like a coaching role play. We can simulate a staff meeting or a community meeting and see how effective they are in doing that. We can actually give them a presentation on an actual topic or challenge that the library is dealing with. It could be budgetary, it could be programming, whatever. Have them make a presentation so we can directly assess those skills. And we always want to assess writing skills, which is particularly critical for a position like this. So we give them some sort of a written exercise where they have to put together a plan or some sort of initiative with respond to an actual challenge that the library is facing. The way we orchestrate that is we have assessors. Some of those can be community folks, most of whom will be other library directors from across the region. And we train them for basically a half day on how to evaluate the candidates objectively. We give them the objective behavioral-based rating criteria up front to take the subjectivity out of it and make sure that the ratings are going to be based on objective information. Then in teams of 3 or 4, they would evaluate the candidates in those probably 4 exercises. Each team will see all of the candidates, again, up to 5. And when that's done, we will then orchestrate a feedback session, a debrief between those assessors and the county manager and her team. And that will enable the county manager to reduce the number of candidates down to 2 or 3. At that point, I'm not exactly sure what the county's intent would be, whether they, how they would conduct their final interviews with the final candidates. But what we promise is that by the end of our process, you will know what their skill sets are. It's really at that point a question of whether they are a good fit with the county. Interviews are very good for helping to assess that, but our process should be particularly helpful in terms of ensuring that we're getting a broad and depth assessment of the candidate's competencies for the position. I don't know if Susan, if there's anything you want to add, any questions that folks have. Susan, anything you'd like to add to that?
I think the only thing that I'll add is that it is a very different process, and having gone through it, I would say the 2 most illuminating things for me, having gone through it, and I've also worked with Steve and sat in on other hires, would be that emotional intelligence exercise or assessment. It is something that I continue to revisit to this day, 7 years later, and the whole assessment center process, it really does give real world exercises. So it's a process that I had never gone through before, but I can attest to. I've drunk the Kool-Aid, and I am a believer and a fan of it.
Thank you so much, Steve and Susan, for that. Yesterday, Amy Cannon and myself met with Dr. Wilkerson and your vice chair, Irene Grimes, and we reviewed the timeline. And so I'd like to kind of go over that. Dr. Strauss mentioned getting feedback from the community. So he has prepared a survey as well as one to go to staff. So the survey will go out to staff today, all library staff. And then the community survey will have a press release, and we will promote that link and have it posted on our county website as well as the library website, and we'll distribute and highly promote that through social media. And then engagement with the Board of Trustees. We spoke with Dr. Wilkerson and Irene, and we were looking at having Steve and Susan conduct a virtual focus group with the entire Board of Trustees. It would be a live engagement so that it would be a dialogue that you have with them. And we proposed December 2nd at 6 p.m. A second group that would like to have a focus group type meeting would be with the 8 library branch managers, as well as the 2 division managers, and that would be at the same time at a different time, but also on December 2nd. And we'll be establishing that time. From there, Dr. Wilkerson and Vice Chair Grimes would be participating on the interview panel during the assessment center. And we are looking at getting the job posting and the advertisement, as Dr. Strauss said, posted early December, having it out there at least 30 days. And then the dates of February 3rd and 4th are what we are targeting for the assessment center. And with COVID, you know, that maybe have virtual components to it. We will be able to update you as we go along on how that will look. Are there questions?
No questions. So Vice Chair Grimes and I did attend this meeting yesterday, and I did go home last night and go on the website to read some of the information, and I was making my way through that report on emotional intelligence that's posted on your site, and it looks very interesting, it looks thrilling, and I'm really looking forward to this process. As Ms. Brown said, this is definitely a different process, but it looks very interesting. So I'm hoping that after going through this, we do have the person that is the best fit for our community, because that's what we all want. That's what we all want. So we look forward to this process. And is that date okay with everyone? That December 2nd, 6 p.m.? Yeah. Okay. Jeremy and Katrina, is that December 2nd, 6 p.m. okay with you?
As far as I know, that works for me, Belinda.
Yeah, I won't be able to make it.
What would work for you, Jeremy, if we did have to switch?
I would have to do daytimes in December. The evenings are eaten up.
Okay,
But I'm also fine to trust the judgment of everybody else.
Okay. Excuse me.
But we might not be fine not to have your input, Jeremy. So appreciate that.
I would also be glad to send out an email with the same questions to any board member that cannot participate, and they could respond via email if they'd like to, if that would be helpful.
Thank you, we appreciate that. Would that work for you, Jeremy?
Great.
Thank you.
Yep, that'll be fine. Thanks.
Okay, so we don't have any further questions. Like I said, I look forward to this process. It sounds very thorough. And this is that we're all invested in making sure that we have a person that is a good fit for this community, because the board here, we're so invested in our library and what it brings to our community. So we're definitely all looking forward to this process. So thank you for your presentation today. Thank you, Ms. Brown, for being here.
Look forward to working with you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other business? Okay, with that being said, I'd like to call this meeting to adjournment at, what time is it? 9:55. Okay. So thank you so much. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, folks.